Charlton Athletic Reminiscence Project, again with Archie Starr, talking on Thursday, February the 18th, continuation of last week.
Because of an injury to somebody.
What position was he playing?
He played wing half.
Johnson Fitz is in here. Johnson
Fitz Whittaker was the half-back line. They've got George Robinson here. He didn't play. Robinson, well, I've got that. Lancelot didn't play. Johnson they've got in here. Jack Shreve. Oh yes, okay. Oh, Jack. Campbell didn't play. Croker. Shreve. Got Bartram, Shreve, Croker. Charlie Rebel didn't play.
No, he didn't play.
No, he didn't play. He didn't play in that cup final. It was Bartram, Croker, Shreve, Johnson, Fitz, Whittaker, and Hurst, Dawson, W. Robinson, Walsh and Duffy. That was the team. Oh, they got one or two in here who didn't play. And they haven't got Whittaker because he was just a reserve at that time. And,
yeah.
You know, he only came in at the last minute for some reason or other.
Someone here, rotator. Division 3 team from 1929-1930. The names out of it. There's a few applications that.
Oh, Lyndon, yes, he was a fat man. He was actually, he became manager after. Fat man, a goalkeeper, you know, he was really fat.
Was he manager after Seed or?
No, before. No,
Just
before the
time.
days. Yeah, before the days of Seed. Fatty Lyndon, everyone called him. He was a good goalkeeper, strange enough. Smith, Norman Smith, he played for Charlton for years. Norman Smith, he was in the successful third division promotion team. Oh, in the 36, he was still playing. Langford, oh, I remember him. Langford. No, it wasn't. No, Harold Langford. Everyone called him Sammy Langford for some reason or other. Hurd, Alec, that's the Alec Hurd you were talking about. George Armitage, yes. Pugsley, no, he was a Welsh international. Pugsley. I think he was captain of Wales for a while. Now, Wiper. Just remember these because I was what? 1959. I was 10. Wiper. Starr. I don't remember him. Whitlock. Yes, I remember Whitlock. Rankin, John Rankin, and Horton. I remember Horton. He was the outside left before Hobbs came along. He played for Charlton for years. Horton. Jackie Horton. What's this? Crowd?
It's just a few notes where the crowd was pulled from.
Oh, well, that's very interesting. I wonder where he got that from.
From his head.
His head, did he?
His head, yeah.
I like that.
What about in the early days when, because your father took you there when you were 5?
Yeah.
But I imagine that he used to go quite often. You wouldn't go when you were younger. And did he used to come home and sort of tell you in great detail at the matches?
Well, I don't know. I used to go because he used to take me fairly regularly because sometimes when when I was a little boy, sometimes when the weather was bad, you know, it was raining or something, my mother says, no, you're not going down there, it's too bad, you know, and I'd carry on, create a scene until he said, oh, come on then. Oh dear, the time, I don't know. Yeah, because, you know, he used to tell me of some of the players that played before they even went to the Valley. Somebody named Castle was a right winger of mine. Castle. Used to carry on about. Because, like us all, he always thought that the older players were better than the ones they had, you know, later. We all think that,
every generation.
Oh, I think that, you know, but whether it's true or not, I don't know. But I do know, you see, in the year they got promotion from the third division, I think about 1936 or 7, something like that, when they started this record rise. They had a very strong supporters club, and their headquarters was up at the house called the Warren up in Church Lane. It's still there, actually. It's a big house, the Warren, and that was the headquarters of the football club. And
For supporters club,
rather.
Yeah.
And they used to hold dances and functions. Whatever they used to take them up there.
So what sort of events were they like? What were they like, the events of the supporters club events?
They were concerts.
You used to get big bands on, did they too?
No, it was... No, I don't think it was anything big, but they used to get an awful lot of people, mostly a boozing session, really. My father liked his pints, you know. And it used to be well attended, but when there was an away game in or around London, what they used to do would be to charter buses from, the LCC, I suppose it was then, London Transport, double-decker red buses, you know. And I can remember going to Crystal Palace and Fulham, Clapton Orient as it was then.
What did they become?
Well, they became Leighton Orient, and now they're and then Orient, and now they've gone back to Leighton Orient, I think. Yeah. But they were Clapton Orient originally, and they played at a ground at Lee Bridge, which was the Speedway circuit. Pitch was in the middle in those days. But I can remember going with my dad and going up to the Warren to go to one of these away matches, and there were perhaps as many as a dozen double-decker buses lined up all up Church Lane, and they'd all be full, you know.
Yeah.
Go along, of course, quite still a dozen double-decker buses, one after the other, with people waving out, leaning out the windows, waving rattles and scarves. But I mean, matches we used to go, and Charlton generally won them. I don't think I saw Charlton lose an away match in London that year. There was no bother. I mean, nobody ever threw a stone.
Well, those were the first season they gained promotion.
Yes, that was the year. I think it was 1936 or 37. Anyway, when they came top of the third, and then the following year they were second in the second and got promotion because the top two went up, and then the following year they were runners up to, I think, Manchester City.
Yeah.
3 seasons running, you know, and it was amazing because the team that finished up as runners up in the first were almost the same as the team that had won the third division championship 2 seasons before. It was fantastic, really. And I always said that Jimmy C was a genius.
He must have been together.
You know, he built a first division team while he was in the third.
No mean feat.
Yeah, no, I mean, he didn't pay a lot of money either. Even for those days. I mean, I think Welsh was the dearest man. I don't know what he paid for Welsh as much, 3,000, which was a lot of money then, I suppose. But you know, mostly picked these players up for a few hundred or free transfers or whatever. But I've never forgotten those double-decker buses. Every time I walk past the Warren now, I think of all these buses lined up.
Must have quite a party atmosphere.
It was, yeah. I mean, you know, there was no bother after the games, you know. I mean, although Charlton, I remember we went to Clapton Orient, and Charlton won, sneaked to win, really. I mean, Orient were a goal ahead. They had a penalty and scored, and then in the second half, I can see the goals now. Wilkinson, the outside right, dashed down the right wing, and nobody could catch him, and he hit the ball in off the bar, and that was the equaliser. And then a few minutes before the end, Robinson picked up a rebound and plonked that in. and they hadn't played well. I mean, they just pinched to win, and all the crowd, the Lower Orient crowd, was saying, "Oh, lucky old Charlton," and all that. Never any bother. They never threw anything at the buses or anything after we were going. Everyone was happy, you know.
I think that thing's intriguing with the nickname, with the Addicts.
Well, yeah.
Would that have been spelt with an H or with an A? Or both?
It was A. You see, there's 2 stories as to how that, and nobody really knows how that came about. It was, some say it was Haddix with an H in the front, because when the club was first formed, the people who formed it, the young lads who formed it, had their meeting above a fishmonger's shop. That was one explanation. And so they picked on the haddock, I suppose, and it got haddock and then addict, you see. But the other explanation is that addict was an abbreviation of athletic. It was attic for athletic, and then somebody knocked the H up and it became addict. I don't know which is right. I don't think anybody knows.
But they did used to have a bloke parading around with a smoked haddock on his stick.
Oh yes. And I remember at the cup final, when they won the cup, I saw a chap with a blooming haddock on a pole. Whether it had anything to do with fish, I don't know. Perhaps Charlie Ribble can throw some light on it. He might well. They know more about it. But that was two explanations I've heard.
Because that's now been dropped, isn't it?
Yes, I don't think anybody. I've never heard anyone shout up the Valiants, but that's what they call them now, the Valiants.
So the Valiants. What about the Robins?
Yes, the Robins. Yes, the Robins came in for a few years. The Robins, that's right, because they were red. But then these other teams are called the Robins, Swindon are called the Robins because they're red. But I know that because my dad used to support Swindon in his young days because he worked on the railway down there. And I think they had a competition a few years back about the trying to find a new name.
I think they still sing the song "The Red Red Robin Comes Bob."
Oh, that's right. Yes, they do. It's their signature tune, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the Red Red Robin. I was hoping to get a good crowd singing it.
See the crowd last week? 5,000 odd.
They didn't do bad, did they?
Getting better. I didn't go.
And what about some more details about some regular faces that you would see every week?
What in the crowd?
In the crowd? Are those just supporters or sort of people who the occasional sort of oddball or I don't know, sort of ground staff who would have sort of very sort of peculiar habits or.
Well, you've got the people who came around selling things, the peanut vendors, selling peanuts. And I know a chap used to come around with a big tray.
And they walk around at the front and
walk around inside the railings, around the track, around the pitch, and peanuts and nuggets. I used to do a hell of a trade. Although the chaps selling peanuts used to come round in the crowd on the bank. They'd come in a basket of peanuts and they'd
squeezing through.
Selling all these peanuts. Well, what's that name of that peanut man? I think they're still around. Big peanut merchant.
Planters.
No. I'm sure they're still around and I can't think of it at the moment. They're well known for peanuts.
The only two are Planters and KP.
Yeah, well perhaps he's been taken over, but no, that's not the name. I'll think of it one day. But no, and of course, in the days before the public address system came into being, the only way the club could communicate with the crowd was by written messages. I mean, they used to, as I told you last week, they bring, when they were playing away, they bring the half-time score around on a board.
So it'd be a man walking around with a sandwich board.
That's right, just with a board, And he also used to come round. They used to chalk on the board at half-time the winning ball ticket number.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people wouldn't know. You see, there's no way of communication with the crowd then. Come round and say winning ball ticket number so and so. And
they didn't make any big deal about the presentation of the ball.
No. You just, as far as I know, you just go round the back of the stand after the match, hand in your ticket, and just go to the ball. I never won it. My dad bought tickets every time, but he never won it.
What sort of people would be selling tickets? Would it be sort of young lads selling the tickets, or would there be?
There were all kinds actually. Not necessarily young lads. No, all ages really used to sell these ball tickets. no, not necessarily youngsters.
Mm.
But I mean, when I first started to go, women and children were lumped together. Women and children went in half price. The women went in at children's price then. It was men, and then another turnstile was women and children.
Mm.
See, they got in because there weren't all that many women used to go
Yeah.
in those days, I suppose.
That was when you see the newsreel footage of the old matches, and you see a sea of flat caps.
See, caps, that's right, yes. My dad used to wear one of them. And he always liked to stand in the same spot. And I've all got favourite spots.
Mm. It's the same.
Years, you know, pals. You did used to see the same faces around you match after match.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine. What about outside? Would there be little sort of souvenir sellers?
Well, yeah, for a big match, you know, there'd be rosette sellers for a big match. Rosette sellers, and of course your program sellers used to stand up on the top of the road selling the program.
There's a Floyd Road.
Floyd Road, yes. And then, and in the winter, when it was very cold, you quite often you see the chestnut, and a roast chestnut, you know, with a little fire. And
was there much sort of queuing up to get into the matches? So you have to wait a long time.
oh yes, there were, yes. Yeah, especially for a big match, because they always said that Charlton didn't have enough turnstiles, they reckon. But, oh yes, I've seen them queuing right outside on the Floyd Road thing. You know, it goes round down to the right. They'd all be queuing up along that fence, sometimes up into Floyd Road, to get in, you know, at a big match.
Yeah.
And often wonder what happened to all the money. Bomb, really. 70,000 crowds, you can imagine, you know.
So what were the admission prices like then?
Well, as far as I can remember, the admission prices, the earliest one I remember was a shilling for adults and sixpence for women.
That's on the terraces. What about in the stand?
I don't know. Yes, that would have been more. Although, for reserve matches, for London combination matches, once you got in the ground, you could go in the stand free. The stand was all free. That's the only time I ever went in the stand, because it was. I suppose the stand would be about half a crown or £5 something like that in those days. But,
still dread to think it was about £3.50 just to go on the terraces, right?
yeah, that's right. Yes. Well, I walked past the valley the other day, and they still got the prices up. I think it was £3.20.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah, I went and had a look round last week after
Oh, did you?
I drove up there. And,
Yeah.
but
You didn't get in.
couldn't get in. Well, I probably could have.
Well, the other day I noticed that the gaps that were, they put corrugated iron up. They blocked the some of the fences and that were broken. They put corrugated iron. It will stop people for a while, but
Yeah.
you know, it's a simple post that gate.
Oh, it's easy. There's high railings you can jump over there.
Yeah.
It's by the round by the where the club bar used to be.
Yes.
Round, and the offices were there as well.
Oh yes, that's
Around
right.
that area, I suppose it's quite easy to get on. I've just tried it. But I'd like to actually get permission to go in there and try and take a few pictures.
Yes, it would be interesting. Yeah.
Because it would be nice to have something to compare with what it's like now.
That's right. Yes. What do you believe it? I mean, say Malcolm McDonald had this big spread some months ago in the Mirror. A big front page, and you walk in, you know, past in the undergrowth. But no, it's very sad. Yeah, I'd love to see them get back there. I don't know, you know, another ground in the area would be better than where they are now. They have their own ground, but I really want to get back to the valley.
Well, the valley is where their heritage is.
It's where all the dramas happened, you know, over the years. You know, but some great players. There's only one player, one contemporary. Well, he's not contemporary now. He's retired just a couple of seasons ago. But there's only one of the more modern players that I would put in the best ever Charlton team, and that was Hales. Very Hales.
He played for a long time, didn't he?
He played for Charlton for quite a while, and then he ended up in Staines.
was,
went
yeah,
to
it was
Gillingham,
something like that.
I think he got an injury which finally decided to pack it in. But Hale was at his best. I think he raced with any of the great Charlton players in the past.
It's strange how just a handful of players do manage to keep on going. And even West Ham's still got Billy Bonds.
Yeah,
and he's in his 40s now.
Yes,
and he's still playing first team football.
Incredible, he is. It's really incredible. You do get players like
when you
that.
think about people like Stanley Matthews as well, the age that he was still playing.
Yeah.
Late 40s or even early 50s, he was
I
still
think
in the
he
occasional
was
games.
50, but 51 even when he played his last league match. But they say he still coaches in Malta. He coaches
He's still
the
involved.
post office side or something in Malta. Marvellous bloke.
He's got the weather out there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He was in South Africa for a while as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I really did, yeah.
Yeah.
I often wonder what happened to the South Africans, what they all doing now. Huey used to play, he was a good player, Huey, John Huey. I mean, I was counting the other night. At one time, Charlton must have had about 7 or 8 South African players.
7 or 8?
South African. There was a lot came together when Jimmy Seed suddenly realised there was this untapped source of footballers, and he got from Arnie and Leary came over together, and then Olin, and all first team, all good players. Leary especially was good. Then there was Chamberlain, Forbes, all around about the same time. Seemed to be that's 5, but there was some more.
There weren't any limits put on clubs in those days.
No, there were no limits at all. No,
because these days there are. But they opened it up a bit a few seasons ago.
I don't know whether South Africa
was counted in those days.
I don't know. In those days, there didn't seem to be any bar at all, providing they all seemed to get work permits, all right, and they were allowed to play. And then there was Oyton Bogart. Probably named Humphrey Bogart. He was a goalkeeper. He was a good goalkeeper too, a very tall man. 6'6", I should think. A tall fella. And he was very, very good. But the trouble was he couldn't get into the team because of Bartram, see? He got fed up in the end and went back to South Africa. But he was a smashing goalkeeper. If Bartram hadn't been there, he'd have been the first team goalkeeper, I think.
Had a few people like that, but Bartram got in their way.
Yeah, they must have got cheesed off. There was Eddie Marsh, was another good goalkeeper. He got fed up because he couldn't get in the first team. Sam kept them all out. And then there was only one flop from South Africa, and that was a bloke named Kirsten. And he was an outside left, and he was terrible.
When were you in from?
That was in the 50s something, I think. Rivel will remember him. Yeah. He was the only good thing he could do. He was an immaculate centre of the ball. He could smack that ball in from the wing beautifully, but he was hopeless. Every time he got the ball, he couldn't beat the man to save his life. He passed it back to the player. He was terrible, Kirsten, and he was slow too. But the others, they had some jolly good South African players. It's all dried up now, though. As you say, perhaps there's restrictions. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Whenabouts were they started playing evening matches, night matches? When were the floodlights been installed?
Well, Charlton were one of the last, I believe, one of the last league clubs to have floodlights, I believe, or maybe one of the last top division teams to have floodlights. And then they only got them because the supporters paid for them. So I think they cost 20,000 when they were put in, and the supporters raised the money in Charlton. And I don't think they were too good when they first came, and there always seemed to be a shadow near the goals. But they did improve them later. And poor old Sam Bartram, he didn't. I tell you what Sam didn't like. When the white goal nets first came in, because to them they were just the mesh, nets, brownish. Yeah. And then these white plastic nets came in, and Sam didn't like that. He said it was outlining the goal too much of an easy target for the forwards. They were outlining the goal. And then poor old Sam, how wrong can you be? When the floodlights first came in, he said, never lasts. Floodlight football, it's a novelty, but it won't catch it. It's got. Oh dear.
Well, these days, some of the poorer clubs, the lower division clubs, they can't afford to have they have to play evening matches because a lot of their players have to have other jobs.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
they'll be working weekends as well as during the week. So I mean, they have to.
That's
like,
right.
Where my parents live, Colchester.
Yeah, well,
They've got the smallest ground in the league, Layer Road.
Layer Road.
Terrible ground.
I've never been there. Never been
Like a
there.
rabbit hutch.
Is it? I've never. Oh, I've been
I
wondering.
think it can hold a couple of hundred at a push. But they play most of their. They hardly ever play on a Saturday unless it can't be avoided.
No, they
play Friday nights.
Oh yes.
And Wednesday nights as well. And,
Yeah.
Most of their matches are evening matches because they just haven't got the money.
No. Well, I used to prefer floodlit matches actually. I'd rather see it. There seemed to be a better atmosphere about a floodlit match.
It's more confined, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
It's darkness. You can't see outside.
That's right. Yeah. I used to love the atmosphere of floodlight matches when they came in. Yeah. I don't know when it was. I'm sure.
I mean, would it have been 50s, 60s?
60s, I should think.
Yeah.
I should imagine in the 60s. Yeah, I mean that. When was this? This was 64. Oh,
That was a
they're
picture.
there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they
Yeah.
are there. That was 64. Oh, that's the old grandstand.
That's the bank, isn't it?
That's the
Sorry.
big bank.
Yeah.
You see, when I first started going, there was no cover here. That wasn't there. No cover at all. The only cover was that old grandstand. It's the same stand.
That's not there anymore.
No, well, the stand is still there, but they put a new flat roof, didn't they?
corrugated roof,
You
yeah.
know, that was all wasted, wasn't it? Yeah. See, my dad used this goal here. I used to stand right just to the right of the goalpost down. It was my favourite spot. And my dad was further up here with his mate somewhere.
Yeah.
But, that's a picture, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Yeah, you see, then when they had some success, then they covered that end. So the consequence was that if it was a wet day, if it was belting down with rain, you know, or the rain came on during the match, and we were standing here, we walked round and go under there. So did everybody else. Crowded under there, and you get one or two dotted here and there in the rain, hardy souls in the rain.
But these days with segregation, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do that, would you?
No, that's it.
Were you able to walk just all the way around?
Oh, yes.
So there were no fences on the corners or anything?
No, we could walk freely all the way around, anywhere. And no problems. And of course you could see when I first went, that bank was only that high, you see, and here was the cliffs, which they later excavated and put and terraced and put this.
Well, when would that have been?
Well, they did that. It must have been when they got into the soon after they got into the first division.
Late 30s.
Yeah, 38, something like that. They doubled the size. In other words, that's made that big cop.
Yeah.
But it was only that. That was uncovered. Of course, all this is now covered, but it wasn't then.
Another thing, did they have on the boards around the edge of the pitch? Did they have advertising there? Because these days, I mean, for a long time, you wouldn't see any sporting event without advertising.
No, that's
all the way
true.
around.
No, they got more.
I was wondering whether they got any revenue from it. Well, they did.
I don't think they did. Can't remember any. No, I can't remember advertising.
So their only revenue really would have been from the crowd coming in.
Yeah, right till the gate. You see, wasn't this sponsorship business.
That was very recent. The sponsorship.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't like the idea of seeing football matches with players with company names and blazed.
No, I'm not so sure that I. Oh no, because, well, I mean, the players weren't even numbered when I don't know when the numbers
They
came.
weren't numbered, so
Not early on, no, not in my area. The players, there were no numbers. I think by this time they must have been. Yes.
Yeah, the numbers
Yes.
down.
I don't know when numbers came in, but certainly during my young days there were no numbers. And there were no subs, of course. No subs.
How do you recognise the players?
Well, you just by the positions they were
Yeah.
playing in, and then you get to know the players. You know, going down week after week. Because these days you never know what the lineups are going to be. They switch places all over the field.
So there was probably a very sort of steady team that would, more or less. Sort of
Oh
count on
yes,
appearing every week.
particularly with Charlton. I mean, Jimmy Seed never ever made vast changes. You know, you play the same team until someone got injured. You know, you
Yeah.
had to make a.
Probably one of the secrets of his success. It was a steady team; they all know each other.
That's
they know
right.
each
Yes,
other
they
play.
were. They were a team. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But he wasn't one for making violent changes.
What about if someone got injured on the pitch? What would happen there? Would play stop and a trainer come
Oh yes, they'd have the train come on. Just
They would just sort of cut up to the touchline.
well, if they were bad enough, yes. Otherwise, they just treat them like that Huddersfield match, that 7-6 match. From his shoulder ache, couldn't possibly play. Carted him off on the stretcher. No, it was bad, really. I wonder if substitutes weren't allowed before they were, because it used to ruin a match. If you get a player injured early on, and they'd struggle on with 10 men, and then they got another one out, they were really in trouble. But that was it. That was taken as part of your fortune,
That's
your
right,
luck.
Yeah. Now, when they introduced substitutes, was it immediately did they introduce the substitution system whereby they could pull someone off if they wanted to for no reason, or was it purely as a replacement thing? Because in rugby it was being replacements for years. Now they actually have substitutes.
Yeah.
But before they couldn't pull someone off unless they were actually injured, couldn't play on.
I've an idea it was injuries only. When it first came, and there was only one. There's two now, isn't there?
Yeah.
They're allowed two now.
Well, that's only a very, very recent thing.
That's only very recent, yes. I believe it's this season, is it, or last season? I'm not sure. But that's right. I've an idea it was only for injuries. Peacock was the first sub ever. Keith Peacock. He used to play for Charlton. He was the first one. He goes down in history as the first one to come on the field as a sub.
That would have been what, the 50s or later.
Later than that, I think. Yeah, I don't think there were subs then, for instance. They don't mention subs, a sub, do they, there? No, it was later than that. 70s, I think. Not too sure, but I think it's probably 70s.
Did they ever used to have any other events at the Valley apart from the football?
Not in those days. I mean, later on they had pop concerts.
Yeah.
Oh, and let's see, so many years. I remember once, since the war, they had, they even had a circus. They had an elephant and a camel, I think it was. God knows what they were trying to do, to try and publicise the valley. An elephant and a camel. And I missed it. I didn't get there in time. This was before the match, and they had an elephant and camel parading around the ground. And I didn't see it actually, but I heard about it afterwards. And then one close season, they tried midget car racing.
Midget car racing?
Midget car racing.
It was the go-kart sort of thing, or was it?
Well, small, kind of that kind of thing, I suppose. Small racing cars, midget. It was going down big in America, and it came, and a millionaire called Bob Topping wanted to try and get it to catch on in this country, and he married Lana Turner, the film actress. I didn't go down. I couldn't be bothered. It was in the summer, and I heard the roar of the engines though from where I lived. But what? Apparently, they had Lana Turner parading around the valley on sitting up in a car or something. Lana Turner.
Yeah.
And it never caught on though. It was a novelty for one day, I think, and nobody ever. And they ruined the pitch doing that. They cut the corners off to fit the four corners to make the track.
Yeah.
You see, but it never caught on. But I mean, that was say since the war, but pre-war they never had anything there at all, as far as I remember. Nothing, no other events.
John Huey, you mentioned.
Yeah, John Huey. Yeah, great player. He's another one who played in every position, I think. In fact, he was a good goalkeeper, John Huey. He was a back or a wing half, really. But when Charlton were short of players and the goalkeeper was injured, he played. He was picked for played in goal for a month or two. Huey was very good. Oh, a very good utility man. They say he played in every position as well, except outside left. But I don't know whether that's true.
The Metropolitan League, what was that?
That was for the sort of youth teams.
It was the young team.
Yeah, the young team.
The combinations of reserves.
And things. London combination was the reserves. I mean, they used to, when Arsenal reserves, say before the war, when Arsenal reserves came down here, that was the biggest reserve gate of the lot. I mean, they used to get quite good crowds for that. Arsenal reserves, you get 5,000 or 6,000, which was pretty good for a reserve match.
John, when they come out of Kent League, and I can't remember much else about them.
Don't mind about this thing, do
No,
you?
a chap named Kingsley.
Oh, I heard Scotty Kingsley, my
Yeah,
dad talk of him.
That's right. He was their captain when they came out of the
Scotty
Kent League.
So
Now, I can't remember any other of the team.
what year would that have been? You remember?
Oh, well, I'm 82, and I should think I was about 16 or 17, I should think, at that time.
Yeah.
Right?
Were you one of the supporters who helped to clear the valley?
No, I've never done any hard work. No.
Only
I
my dad
supported
was.
them. I'll tell you where I used to always stand. Right opposite the stand, just left of the halfway line.
Oh, on the big bank, yeah.
And I'd like to say that in them days we had a sort of party,
Right.
sort of a little club. We
Yeah.
went down every Saturday, and the same people were in the same spot. Because I'm talking about when their gates dropped a bit. Because I remember, I think it was either Tottenham or Aston Villa, they had 73.
Yeah, we've got that.
down there.
We've got that in here, which is Aston Villa in the cup.
Yeah, that's
We've
right.
got-
yeah.
we've got a
I
few
think it was
figures here.
73.
Where are we?
Something like that, yes.
It was 75,000.
75. Yeah.
75,000. That was
They reckon
38.
that was the record crowd,
Yeah.
That was in the cup.
Well, one of the best games was against Huddersfield, I remember. 6-5, wasn't it?
7-6.
7-6, that's right. Getting on a bit, I forget
I know.
some of the things, like, you know.
Huddersfield got a record that day. Do you know about this? They're the only team ever to score 6 goals in a league match and lose.
Well, no, I didn't know that.
Johnny
No.
Summers, wasn't it? Did
Yeah. But I can take people back, I think, more than most. Now, years and years ago, down at Charlton, when the amateurs were playing for them, they had a centre forward named the Tricker, a schoolmaster. And people used to come from all over London just to see Tricker. He was so good as an amateur.
Yeah.
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 My dad talked of another player called Castle. Do you remember Castle?
Castle?
Right winger, I think.
No. I'll tell you what I do remember. I don't know whether you remember him. Linden.
Oh, the goalkeeper. Fatty Linden. I just
Really took
remember
all
him.
the goalkeeper up,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Fat man.
Yeah,
He was
fat man.
good, wasn't he?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, he was good.
He was
yes.
a manager, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was came from Wales, didn't he?
That's right.
Somewhere.
Welshman.
Yeah,
So I
Welshman.
remember Fatty Linden I just remember him.
Yeah. Oh, the days I went down, we paid a shilling. And I lived at Eltham at that time. I've travelled about since then, like, but I lived at Eltham. I used to cycle.
Did you? Yeah.
There's no houses in, I don't know whether you know Broadwalk or anywhere out there.
Oh, yes, I know already.
Well, I lived just off Broadwalk.
Oh, yeah.
There was no houses. I used to cycle over what they call the nine fields
Yes.
and put the bike up in one of them gardens.
Floyd Road.
It's all Sam Bartman's entrance.
Oh, yeah.
The old house is on the left.
Yeah.
For about tuppence you left your bike there, like.
Yeah.
And I should think some days there were 60 bikes in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
Well, they gave you a ticket as well, didn't they?
Yes,
Is that
yeah,
right?
they, out of a raffle, sort of
Yeah.
raffle tickets,
Never
like,
like
you know.
Pence driver, did you? You know, never.
No, you knew your bike was there when you come out, like, you know.
Yeah.
You never had any problems finding your bike though? Because if you put it there when you got there early.
Yeah, those gardens down Floyd Road, the front gardens, were all full of bikes, you know. And
Yeah, but I never went that way.
You
I
never went
always
that
came
way?
in the
Yeah.
top entrance before it was St Bartram's entrance, actually.
Yeah. Yes,
And another game you might remember down there in the Cup, Bolton, when they only had that fencing behind the goal, and that all fell down.
My father told me about that.
Someone told me about this. You say your version.
I was there.
Yeah, good.
What
happens?
all I know, there was a scramble round the goal. I believe Bolton, because I forget a bit, 1-2-0. But there was always an argument that the ball hadn't gone over the line. It had gone over. And of course, all the crowd went forward, and they only had chestnut fencing along that end of the West Lane. And that collapsed, and they all fell and scrambled on top of one another.
Well, my father's version was that Bolton were leading 1-0, and Goodman, the Charlton centre forward, equalised just as the crowd surged onto the pitch when the fence broke and the referee disallowed.
Yes, I know there was a big argument.
I've had another story of it, another version of
You
this.
had another version.
I told you this last week, didn't
that's
I?
right.
Penn was the Bolton goalkeeper, and as the crowd collapsed, everyone was tumbling over. The players and all the crowd were looking at what was happening. And Penn had the ball in his hands, and he sort of turned round to look at what was happening. And as he turned round, the ball went over the line. He wasn't thinking about what he was doing. And as he realised, he sort of threw the ball away.
Of course,
There's different stories.
Valley Ground then wasn't quite what it was in its later stages, and if anything like that happened, you were, like this. And of course, you could miss sort of things But I'll tell you another instance that I've got to tell you these things while I think of them.
Carry on.
I don't know whether you ever remember Preedy.
Yes, Charlie Preedy.
Charlie.
Yes.
He was,
Just remember Preedy.
He owned a couple of taxis.
Did he?
But he played for Charlton. Matter of fact, Preedy was a great pal of my brother's. And we, in them days, had a small billiard table. And Preedy, my brother, elder than me, he's dead now, elder than me, and a couple of other chaps used to go in there. Well, me and the younger brother were only sort of youngsters then. I suppose they were about 20 age. I think we were about the 9 age or 7 age or something. And I always remember they used to give me a bottle of lemonade, my brother a bottle of lemonade, so we'd clear up to bed. So I suppose they could have a little gamble. Yeah, that was Charlie. But what I was going to tell you about Charlie, he got a cup final medal. Did you know this? For the Arsenal, and he only ever played in the cup final. He never played in any other rounds.
For Arsenal?
For Arsenal. Yeah, there was a fellow named Lewis who was their goalkeeper for years, Welshman for years. And evidently, I don't know who the manager was, I can't remember. He fell out with him. And Preedy was put in his place, and it's the only game he played.
He never played, he got a cup with his medal.
When he was down Charlton, we used to call him Spider.
Spider, that's
yes,
my father. Yes, I remember him as
He was always called Spider,
Yeah.
Why Spider?
Well, he was like a sparrow, long arms and thin, old Charlie. He was a character,
Yeah.
Of course, I've had so many characters over the years down at Charlton, really, haven't they? Because I can remember before Seed, I think it was before Seed, there was a manager named Rayner.
Yes, he was the crook.
He set alight, didn't he, too?
That's what my father told me.
No, I know this. He set alight and burned all the papers and books in the office, tried all the evidence. Yeah, that was Rayner. Yeah.
I remember my dad told me that. Rayner burnt the
But then, of course, old CDE brought, who was it, Hewitt, all the South Africans, didn't he?
Oh, yes, so just go through them before you train the South African.
Yeah, they were.
Army and Leary and O'Lynn and...
They played, one played for Essex, very good cricketer. Can't think of
Leary played
Hipkin. Hipkin was goalkeeper at Charlton, wasn't he? Hipkin. He played for Essex. And but he's not the one I'm thinking of.
Frank Wrist.
Yes. I forgot him, but
he wasn't South African. But Leary and Ufton
Ufton.
played for Kent, didn't they?
Now, I don't know whether you ever saw it. Old Ufton used to come on the field. Well, the trainer used to come on back again,
He had a
and
wire,
on
didn't
he
he?
used to go on playing. You know,
Both shoulders
Yeah.
went like that. I think he had them wired up.
yeah, well, wired up and everything,
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yes.
Oh, and I'll tell you another player character. You'll remember him. Hobbies.
Oh, how Granny.
Every time he used to come out, he used to run on the field. That was
Hobbies.
that was his what's his name?
And he generally came on the field last. He would
Yeah,
out
he-
last. He would try.
So, he used to blow. It was a well-known.
He was like an old
Well, no,
farmer's
that
boy.
is.
Yeah. Plodding
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Yes, good value.
But wasn't it Goodman, I believe, who got tied up at one time doing a bit of house burglary?
Well, I don't know. I don't
Clearing,
remember that.
clearing some
I
stuff.
never saw Goodman. I never
That
only
was
what my
Goodman.
father telling me.
Yeah, that was Goodman.
He got pulled up for it as well, did he?
Oh yes, he got pulled up for it. I'm not sure whether he won after the days he left Charlton.
Yeah.
Before that.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Did he? Now, when I used to go down there, as I was saying, I had two brothers. They liked to drink. I was never. I used to have to drink, but I wasn't so keen as what they were.
Was that before they were at the Valley, or after that?
Oh no,
Because they used to have a ground at Anglesteen Park, didn't they, or something like
no.
that?
You knew one time, and I never followed them for the simple reason they moved to Catford.
They did for one season.
One season,
didn't they?
yeah.
Where
Tell me about
I couldn't even tell you where the
See
ground
that
was.
programme?
I never
It
went.
wasn't the ground stadium, was it?
No. It's probably all built on.
No, yes, I should.
But they give the address in the programme somewhere.
Well, I'll have a look through that later.
Yeah.
So they used to go boozing down there, didn't
One
they?
season.
Well, my two brothers did, and then they always come to the same spot on
Yeah.
the ground, and there was always two girls. Well, they must be women now, I should think, married, but they worked for the GLC. They were always there, keen Charlton supporters. They were like, you know. Then there was a woman, her husband, and two children. They were always in the same spot. Another couple come from Elton. Always in the same, always, we showed them what's like, you know. But what upset me one day down at Charlton, believe that it's when they played Gillingham, so you can tell this was a long way away. Now we always just, you know, days gone by, used to go down there and chat and talk to people, you know, opponent supporters used to come along and
That's
used
right.
to
No bother.
chat, no bother. One
That's
day,
right.
we were there talking, there was 4 Gillingham supporters. Came along, chatting away with us. What happened? 4 bloody police come. Sorry. 4,
Carry on, that's all right.
4 policemen come up and shifted them. Now they weren't doing any harm whatsoever.
No,
just having a
chat.
chat with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And I often think that was the start of a lot of the trouble, because if you were a decent supporter and you were only talking and arguing with
moved on and
somebody,
get your back up, wouldn't it?
of course it get you back up, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think some of them sort of things have helped to build the trouble of today.
Yeah. But that second year football really was when they started to segregate.
Yeah, that was another bad thing.
And then they built
I
the
never,
high fence.
yeah, I never believed in that.
That really
you know.
sickened their football.
Yeah.
I don't go there. Do you go to Palace?
No, I haven't
No,
been.
I've
Last-
been over there 3 times.
Last match I went to was at Charlton Finish.
Oh, the Stoke. Yes.
I've got a grandson who lives at Stansted in Kent,
Yeah.
down not as far as
Essex.
Maidstone. Yeah, no, not the one with the airport, village in Kent, Stansted. It's the back of motor car place, Brands Hatch.
Oh yes, yes.
He lays at the back of Brands Hatch. He always goes now, keeps me, brings the programme and keeps me the news, like, you know.
Yeah.
He's arguing whether to support down this, which I think is wrong, down at the ground, or whether go and see the Oxford match, like, you
You
know.
think the boycott's wrong, do you?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Come on, don't you?
I don't know.
Well, I've got mixed feelings about it.
Well, I've got a sort of mixed feeling about it. Yeah,
But
I can't see what good it's going to do.
It's not going to do any good at all.
No,
It's gonna,
that's my point.
But it might make. I mean, the club do understand that they've, that genuine supporters feel like every match is an away match.
Oh
these
yes,
days,
yeah.
And maybe they're just, the club would obviously. Well, we heard today, didn't we? The club have appointed a marketing bloke.
Oh yeah.
To do the operation to try and get the club either back to the Valley or back to a ground in the borough, in Greenwich Borough.
Yeah.
And it seems like going back to the Valley is very unlikely.
But there is
so much pressure on from supporters to get them back to the Valley because it's their own.
Yeah.
But,
well, of course, I think if they play anywhere else, it will never be the same. Well, of course, at my age, I mean, we can say that, but you get a young chap like this coming along who don't remember really the old days, only what he's heard like, he might have a different outlook on it, but I think
to us the Valley
the Valley is the
home,
Valley,
isn't it?
but even if they come somewhere else, the younger generation, I think,
Well, that'll be better than where they are now.
Well, it's like they've got to start from scratch again, haven't they?
That'd been better if they'd gone to the Orient, I always reckon.
Well, there was some talk of it.
One time, there was
Sharing
talk
along.
of it at one time.
It's just like watching them play away. Isn't
But I think I must tell you, what people enjoyed going to the Valley was when the Royal Artillery Band played down there. And you used to get the old trumpeter, he used to go up the top of the cliffs and he used to play post-gallop or post-all gallop, is it? I don't know what it is. And that was a treat. And people, I think, a number of people went down there just for that entertainment, not the football. Because they used to get down there early them days, and there was plenty of room, and the ground always used to fill up the last 10 minutes somehow or other. But all them people that went down there early, they went to see listen to the band.
How long would the band play before the match then?
Played during the interval, and I should think half hour before the match.
Half hour, it's quite a long time.
Yeah, well, it's quite a long time. But march up and down and that, it's a good spectacle.
These days you only get that at Wembley, don't you?
You don't get it anywhere.
it? Gave a sense of occasion, didn't it? To a match.
Yes, it gave. It gave us. Then they used to run a shilling a week fund or something. Charlton.
That's the thing. We've got a programme here from '64.
It used to call at our place for it was some sort of swindle.
Yeah, look at it now. They developed it, didn't they?
Yeah, I know it was a shilling a week, but of course he stopped coming, so we stopped paying our shilling. Oh yeah,
shilling a week tote. Well, there might have been before. They might have done another one before then. That's '64. That one.
Now I've got to tell you a real tale. It's really unbelievable, it's true. You know when they won the cup? Now, Sam Bartram, brother, was our window cleaner.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, a very nice fella. He was a nicer fella than Sam, I was going to say, but that might not be it. Anyway, he said to my boy then was about, he's 52 now, I should think going back 40 odd years since they won that cup, wasn't it?
47 they won.
47
they won, 46 they lost.
Years ago.
I was going to say, now he's 52, so what would he be?
11, 12.
11, 12.
Yeah.
And Sam Bartram's brother said to me, or him talking together like, would he like a programme of signed by all the players in the cup? So of course, my boy, God. But you know what would happen? My missus is, house nut, clean it, put it in a bloody dustbin.
Oh.
And we this is true. And now we say to her about it after all these years. Yeah, she's cleaning up like, wouldn't have anything laying about.
Heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking, yeah. And all the players signed it. It was, wasn't it? Yeah. And we lost it.
I've got a programme, but I haven't got his.
I haven't saved any programmes like
that. Did you ever see that? Special souvenir booklet of all the players. But there's a lot of, as Archie was saying, there's a lot of the players in there didn't actually play.
Well, I remember Donald Welsh, Robinson. Tricker, well, not Tricker, what was his name, who took over managementship or for Seedy. He was
Hill?
he was a trainer.
Oh, Trotter.
Trotter.
Jimmy Trotter.
Oh,
yeah.
Trotter. He met.
Is he still alive, Jimmy Trotter?
I don't know. I remember going down to Willis Town Hall. They held a meeting. Charlton Athletic. Trotter was in the chair. How to get more support for Charlton at Willis Town Hall. Like, you know. Yeah. And us three, myself, my two brothers, like, you know, I think put more questions to old Trotter then than anybody else in the hall, like, you know. Because I heard people around say, oh, they're three brothers, you know.
Of course, he walked out in the end, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't he, Trotter?
Oh, yes, he
was a
let
nasty-
them down, didn't he?
Yes, he walked out.
Absolutely. Have you saved all these or collected them?
No, well, these are just a few bits and bobs that people have managed to get to me.
Oh.
I've got that programme from '64 and that.
Well, I'm
today.
sorry, I haven't got
The
anything.
Mount, Grimstead Road, Catford. I don't know where
For the 23-24 season.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
old Jimmy Trotter.
It was a disaster,
Why do
so
they?
they came
Well,
back.
when do they go to the valley then? Because that pitch.
That was, they left the valley, you see, they were already
Is
at
that
the
why
valley.
it's been sort of redeveloped? Was it? And they had to.
That's
Well,
a bloke
no.
that scored the winning goal, wasn't it, in the cup?
Oh, Duffy.
Chris Duffy. Were you there?
Outside, no.
Did you go?
No, I didn't go to the
Oh, I was
cup
there.
meeting. I've only been to Wembley
I
once.
saw them both.
Did you?
Yeah.
And I went when Bolton beat Charlton and played West Ham.
That was 1923. That was
That's-
the first
that's
one.
went to the
right.
first
You were
Wembley
there,
final.
were you?
Yes,
The White Horse final.
I
So-
went to the worst. Well, yeah, I went, and it's the only time I've been. And yet I worked up in Liverpool once for when I was a couple of years working up there. Could have got a cup final ticket easy. Worked in Liverpool,
Yeah.
which I couldn't manage to go, but here I could never get one. Yeah, because they were dished out the clubs in Liverpool. If you were a dart player in a pub, like you
Yeah.
know, you stood a good chance of getting a
ticket.
ticket.
Well, I saw
like
them
you
both.
know.
Yeah, I saw both.
That
I
occasion.
must
that
tell
first-
you. I'll tell this story. I hope I'm not boring.
No,
you.
not
No,
at all. It's
it's
exactly what
lovely.
we want. It's
Very
brilliant.
interesting.
I must tell you this story about going to Wembley. I worked at. I was only 16, I suppose 17, something like that, and I worked for Delta Metal Company, Greenwich, down Blackwell Tunnel. And they had a good football team at that time. I'm transgressing a bit. And one time they closed down, but they kept 14 chaps. What was a football team? That's the Delta Metal Works. And they had one or two good players. They had ex-Scottish chap, and you know, they had always remember a chap named Dick Willis, and he played for Nelson. Do you remember when Nelson were in the Northern? In that, they used to be North and South then.
Yes, yes.
And Nelson was a team in the North, and he got
No, I don't.
he got 30 bob a week,
Yeah.
part-time playing for them, like, you know. But that's transgressing about my Wembley trip. They run a coach from the Downhill Metal Works, one of Lewis's, which, did you see the paper the
Yeah, I
other
saw
week?
that.
Very interesting, wasn't it?
I've got it.
Interesting,
It's
yeah.
sort of the picture of the Charlton team
Yeah,
going through. I've got it
that's
here.
right,
I've got it
very
here.
interesting. Well, we went Lewis's coach, like, you know, and going up there, like, you know, there was hundreds and hundreds of coaches, because it wasn't properly finished.
No.
Now, at that time, but I'm going to tell you something. There was streams of people coming back from Wembley, as many that was going forward, like,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, I bet they never counted how many was there. Right, so when I get there, I was with another young chap. We had to, there was stanchions, and these stanchions led up. Have you been to Wembley?
Yes.
Well, I haven't,
yeah.
but the top part went round, and there was a lot of doors where you went in. Am I describing it
Yes,
right?
yes, I know what you mean.
He's like letting lions' cages it all.
Yes,
seem to
that's
me.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Well, there was these stanchions, what wasn't finished, wasn't covered, and everybody was
Climbing up. Yeah.
and I climbed up them with a young fellow I was with, and when we got to the top, you had to, then it was systems, lavatories. You had to squeeze your way over these systems until you got to this round part, like, you know.
Yeah.
And me and this kid, we were standing by a doorway, and there was a uniform bloke there, like, you know, and he was looking at us, like, you know, what the hell we're doing there. And all of a sudden a stampede come round there, and this commissioner, without word of a lie, opened the door, pushed us to him, shut the door behind himself, and do you know where I was? 5 rows behind the King and Queen. Yeah. Without a word of a lie. And this commissioner made us stop there. I suppose he thought, you know, a couple of youngsters we'd be killed or something. Yeah. And I saw all the match. I saw the pitch cleared, the white horse.
The white horse, yeah, that's famous, isn't it?
And the chaps in the coach from Delta, they took a wicker basket, an old wicker basket with beer, with a bottle inside. You know, you see them, and they stood it on the centre spot, without word of a lie, and they all drank from it. That was before the police cleared the pitch.
They must have been burst into the seams that day.
But what?
Well, they never know, do
No,
they?
they couldn't know, no. And what amused me, what I can remember now, coming home in the coach, the streets were lined with people about 5 or 6 deep, as though it was a royal procession, you know, as though the King and Queen were coming.
You weren't in their coach going back from Manchester, were we?
I can't remember how we found the coach anyway to come away, because there were so many there, like, you know.
Well, wasn't it after that they made it all ticket, didn't they, after that?
But I'm told a little bit more about it. As I was going up, my brother, older than me, he said, "Here you are," he said, "it's your entrance fee, 3 shillings. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. I got in for nothing, so I came away through back ropes and saw the match.
And you just behind the roll box as well.
yeah, just sat behind the roll box. But it was a stampede up there, like, you know. Yeah. And yet it all seemed orderly. Although, you know, although the stampede, I never saw no fighting or, you know, anything like that.
But I don't suppose you wanted Bolton to win, though, because they've beaten Charlton, haven't they?
That's what, you know, I can't quite remember that. I think they won 2-0.
I think it was 2-0, I think so, yeah. It was.
When was the first match you saw Charlton play then? How old were you?
I couldn't tell you that.
Right before the wedding.
Yeah.
Did they play?
I'll tell you one thing, that you might remember this. They were in the 3rd division, and they had 2 of the best backs in the 3rd division, Smith and Herod.
Oh yes, I remember Smith and Herod. Yes.
Little.
Norman Smith.
Smith.
Yes.
Very smooth, shortish bloke.
Yeah.
The other one, Herod, he was a tall bloke. Yeah. And they were the 2 recognised 2 of the best backs in the 3rd division at that time. And of course, you know, Charlton went from the 3rd division to the 2nd to the 1st.
Yes.
But the turning point, I remember, when they went from the 3rd to the 2nd, was at Christmas time. They beat Coventry 1-0 at home and 1-0 away. And from that time, they never looked back.
Never looked back, yes.
I can remember that, like, you know, it was Coventry City. Yeah. Christmas time, 1-0. And I've always said, like my grandson, he says, "Oh, you know, comes back, no, I'll never do this, no, I'll never do." I've always said to him, if they're halfway in the league at Christmas time or halfway in the season, they've got a wonderful chance of getting to the top if they're halfway.
Yeah. It's good, stands them in good stead.
Yeah.
But Norman Smith played for years. I mean, he was in the promotion teams, wasn't he, in 1936?
Yeah.
He was a penalty expert.
Yeah.
Wasn't he, Norman Smith? He used to score a lot of goals from penalties.
Yeah.
Slide the ball. He used to slide them in somehow, I don't know.
Another
just
one
inside the post.
Another one you'll remember, I remember, Armitage.
Oh yes, George Armitage. Yes. He was an amateur, wasn't he an amateur?
He was an amateur.
Yeah,
I've got an idea he turned professional, but he was you know, at first.
Yeah. Armitage.
Well, Armitage.
Think of the players throughout the years.
Yeah.
Best captain I ever saw was Benny Fenton, I think.
Oh yeah, Benny Fenton.
He was a good captain, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was a bit of a clown, but he was a good captain.
He was before Welsh, was he? Before Don Welsh?
But he had a job with the Mars.
No, he was afterwards.
After Welsh.
Yes.
Oh, Welsh. He went to Liverpool, didn't he?
That's right.
He went
manager.
A manager. Didn't last very long though.
No.
Then he got head up for shoplifting.
That's right. Pinch and cheese.
Yeah, some simple thing. Yeah.
He did. After he packed up, he got head up the shop for listen some cheese. You know, Jack Shreve used to be my neighbour. And I've spoken to Jack about it afterwards. He said, it's a funny thing. He said, I can't believe it. He said, because Don Wilkes didn't like cheese. He said, he never ate cheese. Yeah. Yeah. So he could never understand how he came, French cheese from soup.
You remember Charlie Revel?
Yeah, Charlie
He's coming down next week.
Is he?
Yeah, he's coming down. He knows about what we're doing down here.
Does he?
He's coming down especially to see you.
Good morning, come down again.
Yeah, we'll do.
Oh, do come.
Because we start at 10 o'clock. You see, so and Charlie's going to be down here about 10.
When you get my age and you've got a missus a year older than you and she ain't so well, you've got
it's
problems, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
That's right.
I said, well, I shan't be long, I'll only be out. I've got to get but that don't matter once I get
Whereabouts in
back.
Blackheath?
Mayday Gardens, right at the back of the Brook Hospital, the back entrance.
Oh, behind the
Broad
brook.
Walk, behind the
Broad
brook.
Walk, of
Yeah,
course.
Broad
I know.
Walk.
Oh,
Mayday Gardens comes off the Broad Walk.
yes, I know. It's a bit of a... How'd you get down there? Where'd you get...
Well, I come to Woolwich and then along on the
Oh, I
bus.
see. Yeah.
Oh, it's easy to get here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we'd love it if you come.
Yeah, good. I mean, Charlie down here as well next week. It should be pretty
I've never
good.
met any of the players.
If I brought my grandson along, would that matter?
Yeah, of course.
He's only young, but he'd
That's
sit
all
and
right.
listen.
Yes, we'll amuse him.
He's
Yeah.
interested, because a lot of youngsters don't care about listening to us old blokes say, oh Christ, we heard it. Or
How old is he?
didn't know the match was over. I suppose you heard that one, hadn't you? Haven't you heard that one? Yeah,
Did you tell me that one last week?
No, I didn't know.
What's that one?
Well, it was so foggy. That they were playing.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you another instance. That when you talk about one instance, it reminds you of another, doesn't it?
That's right. Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Talk about the one that's foggy. The whistle went.
Yeah.
Barton was in goal, and all the players were up the other half, and they all cleared off. Left old Barton, they reckon he stood there 20 minutes
What did he do?
before he knew the game
was
was
up the
over.
other end.
All the play was up the other end.
I realised he was listening.
But what makes me smile now, they pack up football matches if it's raining, don't they?
Yeah, the ground's wet.
I was down at Charlton when Tottenham played Charlton, and that's going back a few years, and it was ice all over the pitch, but they played football.
Yeah.
There you are.
I can't.
They couldn't stand, but they played and they played a good game.
The only time they abandoned a match or postponed a match, as far as I remember, was if it was very thick fog.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
No, you didn't.
They
You
wouldn't
always go down there and what's the
Get a
name,
match.
you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you remember? I was telling him just before you came. Do you remember when the headquarters of the supporters club was up at the Warren in Church Lane, big house, and for away matches in London they used to hire double-decker buses.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. Well, they, one time they used to run like from Sidcup and places like that, special buses
Yes.
to the valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the valley. Yeah.
Yes,
to the valley,
you
yeah.
know,
This was
the
to
valley.
like Crystal Palace, Fulham, other away, Clapton Orient.
Oh yeah.
There was these, as much as 12 or maybe more, double-decker buses going along.
Yeah.
Full of supporters, you know.
There was really only one bad thing when I was a youngster and used to go down Charlton and watch. It was one of the games, I think, when there was a 70-odd thousand or 60-odd thousand there. A couple of blokes come in there, you know, tiddly, and one was going to hit the other one over the head with a beer bottle, which is right, and somebody pulled it away. And that's really, over all my years of going to Charlton, until the latter years, was the only thing I ever saw.
I never saw
And
it.
that was
Never
because
saw
they
it.
were drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do remember that the exits from the ground were very bad. They had two gates. You used to open two gates, and one of them didn't open properly. So if you've got a big crowd, you know, I remember my father telling me, keep your arms down, he'd say, don't, because you get your arms broken, you know, keep your arms. And I can remember in ending coming up Floyd Road.
You also say that, you know, they had the old-fashioned turnstiles, didn't they, like Charlton Light, you know, but the bloke behind it was named, when there was two of us and as kids, get in together. Oh
Squeeze
yeah,
through.
yeah, squeeze through. Yeah. One for himself. Yeah, oh yeah, that happened many a times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever win the match ball?
No. Funny thing, the only
Did anyone ever win the match ball?
I would deny you ever won it, but I probably know something.
Well, I once was over at, in Essex at Romford, and I went when Romford played. I don't think they play there now. They used to play about next to the station, but that's I won the ball.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I should never forget it. Like the bloke that gave me it, one of the company, kicked the thing as far as he could. He said, "Now get it." Yeah, I thought I didn't want the ball anymore after that.
It's a bit mean, isn't it?
Mean that was, yeah.
Oh dear.
Because these balls that they used to sell the ball tickets for, they were leather footballs, weren't they? Proper leather
Oh,
footballs.
proper ones. Yeah,
T-ball,
good
they had a big
ones.
T on them. They seemed to be the brand that all the league clubs used. T, wasn't it?
Yeah,
T-ball.
yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I never won it.
Have you had anybody else down here support players or anybody?
Well, just
We only
only the
started
second
last
week.
week.
Oh, they were sort of putting up-to-date machinery in places like Yugoslavia,
Yeah.
which were what I was most interested in was Swiss roll plants.
Yeah.
Well, they were doing automatic Swiss roll plants. Now they had Baker Perkins, big engineering firm in Peterborough. They were putting in these plants, and they had the engineers to do all the plant work, but they had nobody to start them off with the mixings. And
Yeah.
this is what I
That's
did.
what you would do.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah,
But
so-
I wish I'd done it when I was 40, not when I was 65.
Yeah.
When I was 65, see, it's too late in life, you know.
Yeah.
to
Were
pick
you
up
always,
a
were you
bag.
always in the confectionery trade? weren't you?
Yeah, it's all my life, like,
Yeah.
you know.
It was only at the end you actually got to travel around and
Yeah,
see
well,
a few
I
places.
don't know, because I don't suppose you worry too much about cakes and that, like, you know, but I was with Hales, I was their bakery manager over at Leighton.
Yeah.
Then they moved to Somerset, and I went with them.
Whereabouts in Somerset were
Cleveland.
they? Yeah, no, I was born in Bristol.
You one, was you?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, I used to go to nightclub in Bristol. Yeah. I used to go and see Bristol City,
Yeah, Aston Gate.
you know, or the other one,
Rovers.
Bristol Rovers,
Yeah.
when I was down there, like, you know.
Yeah.
Ah, and another thing I can tell you, which I wished I had saved and never had, when I was at Liverpool, I worked for Liverpool City Catering Company. They had 17 buffies on Everton's ground. They had 15 buffies on Liverpool's ground. And they did all the meals of players,
Yeah.
you know, during the daytime. The players had lunches and all that, like, you know, they did all that. And the firm had 5 passes for Everton or Liverpool,
Yeah.
and I had one.
So you were down there.
And that's, I wish I'd saved them,
Yeah.
which I never did. It's funny, over the years, I've sort of never been one to collect anything like.
Yeah,
you
you don't
know.
attach any importance to it, do you?
No, no, at the time. Like,
Yeah.
but I wish I had them to show people now. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I went to Everton one week, and I went to Liverpool the other week.
Yeah.
And the thing about it was, because I was bakery manager, I used to walk in the ground up to one of the buffies and, cup of tea, Miss Greenwood, what do you want, you know. We wasn't, our pass only allowed us to the ground. But what we used to do, big parcel of cakes, we used to stand at the bottom of the stand at the back, the 5 of us with our ticket. Down used to come the chap, he used to have a gate, open the gate, and used to reserve 5 seats up at the top of the stand for us. So we had... Oh yeah, I've had a good night. Right. I'll tell you this thing I remembered. I was at Southend working once.
Yeah.
Well, I got married at Leon C. And I was down there and I'd been ill for a week. And Charlton would come down to play Southend. So I thought, blimey, how am I going to get to the match? And what I did, I said to him, he said, I'll go and see the doctor Friday. So I went and see the doctor Friday. I've been in bed all the week. When I come home, I said, he said, I've got to get out in the fresh air. So I went and saw the match. Yeah, he said, I've got to get out in the fresh air.
In those days, did you get many supporters travelling to the away matches?
I didn't go. I went to London clubs. When they played the London clubs, I went. You used to get quite a number of crowd, didn't you? Like, you know. Like we went to Fulham, went to Fulham on boat race day when you could see the boat one time, like, you know, and that everybody left the match and ran up the bank to look at the Cambridge Oxford going up the Thames, like, you know. Yeah.
I'll tell you that I've just thought Hobby was pretty good. Cyril Pearce, do you remember Cyril Pearce?
Yeah.
Forward. Signed him from Swansea, and then he broke his leg, didn't he? And it was never the same.
Never the same after.
Yes, he was good player, Cyril Pearce.
Who was the one? He was outside right with a bald head.
Hurst.
Yeah.
Wilkinson was the one before him.
Yeah, that's
Monty
right.
Wilkinson was
Yeah.
Yeah, they've always had good wingers, Charlton.
Oh yeah.
Really? Well, they don't play with wingers now. I don't know what they do now.
They're good players over the years, like, you know.
Jackie Horton. Remember Jackie Horton?
Yeah,
outside
yeah,
He was before Hobbs came on.
yeah.
Duffy.